You know, at many of our programs, there are people who have never stood in front of a group of people and told their story, okay, or told any story. And just that simple act of getting your voice out in front of a group is a really powerful thing. And so this is a theater-based framework that kind of adds a little bit of a competitive edge that propels people into getting their story out. So to get started, I'd like to ask for 6 volunteers to come up and form a straight line right here. Okay, great. Form a straight line. Imagine an invisible straight line here and just have your toes right up to that line. Perfect. And then I want you to stand such that you are about 5 inches apart from each other, so there's some space between you. Perfect. And the way this game begins is that everyone will turn and face the wall. So why don't we do that now? Good. And when I say go, one of you will turn and face the audience, face the group. Then someone else will get the impulse to turn and face the group. And when that happens, the person who was previously facing the audience turns and faces the wall again. The point is that at any given point in time, there's only one person who's facing the audience, okay? The other thing to remember is that we call this the sensitivity line because we want you to see if you can sense when someone has turned and faced the group, okay? In other words, you're not going to be, you know, bending over and looking down the line to see what's happening. You're going to be standing straight, just, you know, just looking at the wall and then turning and looking at the audience, not looking around you. And just pivoting on this in like an invisible center plumb line that's running down the center of your body. So you're just turning like this. Okay, just turning quietly. All right? Good. Okay, so when I say go, someone turn and face the audience. Go. Great. Good. Wonderful. Uh-huh. You're doing great. You're picking up the pace. That's good. As this goes along, you can pick up the pace of your turning. Good. Keep it going. Excellent. Great. You got it. So we're going to stop it right there. So when we do this in front of a live audience, even something that simple, just turning and facing the group, is entirely entertaining. Okay? So now we're going to take it one step further. Okay? So when I say go, you'll all turn and face the wall, and then someone will turn and face the audience. And when they do, they begin a story. So I want you to think of any story from your life. It could be a story from your childhood. It could be something that happened last week. So this is an opportunity to tell any story from your life. Mm-hmm. And so when you turn and begin the story, you'll be sharing, and then someone else will turn. And when that other person turns, they begin speaking right away. And as soon as that happens, you button up and turn and face the wall until you find another opportunity to come and turn and face the audience, and you begin your story again, right where you left off. So you refrain from using words like, as I was saying before, you just begin exactly where you left off, just like clean splice, okay? So when this gets going, it's like we have 6 different channels, and we're wildly channel surfing. So the couple other things to keep in mind is when you when we begin, let each story take root just a little bit, and then as the game goes on, you can pick up the pace of interruptions, and without overthinking it, you might find interesting places to interrupt, okay? But you're just going to stay right on your own storyline. Is that clear? Does anybody have any questions? Great, let's see how it goes. Here we go. So take a moment and think of a story that you'd like to tell.
Who was a very good friend. And when we grew a little bit older, she started an interesting relationship with somebody whose official job was to make cheese for the Queen. And he was genuinely the cheese maker for the Queen, and the Queen loved him.
When I was in 8th grade, I had a project about the left-hand side of the brain, and I left my brain at home, my model brain at home that I was supposed to bring to school. So I called my mom up and told her that I left my brain at home and she had to bring my brain to school. So I was in class waiting for this phone call to go to the office to pick up my brain.
We used to travel a lot as a family when I was young. I must have been about 6 or 7 with this church group that my parents are part of. So we used to go on sort of all kinds of fun trips abroad with the parents of this church group, and all the kids were our friends. One time we were just coming back from this farm where we'd spend a lovely weekend together. Bunch of cars, got back, packed everything up.
So I used to work as a runner in Soho, and I used to have to deliver like show reels and tapes and stuff like that, and I used to ride around on my skateboard, and I was riding the double yellow lines because they're like a smooth track for your skateboard wheels to go along, and I was cruising along and I was thinking that's so cool, and then just as we got to a bit of a bottleneck, this bus came up and just kind of knocked me a little bit, and my skateboard hit the edge of the curb and I fell. And
so we're packing up the car, and Dad had a massive station wagon at the time, and I remember putting like all the duvets and covers at the back, and I was thinking, right, I'm going to sleep. That's where I'm going to sleep. I'm going to sleep right there in the back when we get going. And that's what happened. So we got going, and
the most interesting thing about this guy wasn't actually that he was the Queen's cheesemaker. It was
great. So now you can pick up the pace of the interruptions.
And I'm thinking, I'm so unhappy. How can I get out of the army?
But I'm waiting in class for this phone call about my brain to come, and my teacher is going to pick up the phone and hear that I forgot my brain and tell everybody in the class that
I was almost too old to believe in Santa Claus when I couldn't fall asleep at night because I wanted to be sure.
And so just as I fell, I had this tape in my hand and I saw it in slow motion fly through the air and land